The importance of feminist approaches resides in the mandate to seek understanding of affinities and relations, especially in cases which appear to reveal disconnections and discontinuities. In the US and in many parts of the world, we are now intensely focused on sexual harassment and gender violence. And again, I would say, finally. Gender violence is the most pandemic form of violence in the world. And we're just now witnessing a surge of popular opposition to these forms of violence. So let us ponder the important connections between the rising of women against sexual assault, sexual harassment, and the long history of Black women contesting the deep links between sexual assault and racist institutions. Rape was an integral element of slavery. Racial dominance and sexual dominance mutually reinforced one another. The slave master was the sexual master as well. Today, we tend to think of sexual assault and sexual harassment as flowing from a defective individual. So simply get rid of the men who are perpetrating gender violence. Fire them from their jobs. Send them to prison. Well, it's probably good that people like Harvey Weinstein have suffered some consequences. But the point that I'm making is that only addressing the individual will not make the problem go away, because the problem is deep. The problem is structural. Perhaps some of you followed the case of Larry Nassar, a doctor for the U.S. Olympic gymnastic team, who has sexually molested probably hundreds of young girls and young women. He was sentenced to prison for 175 years. And that's kind of ridiculous, because he's not going to be around for 175 years anyway. But that punishment forgets the real reasons why, such a devastating assault on young girls and young women could occur over time. It forgets to look at the institutional context, the structural character of that violence. This is, of course, a very compelling argument for prison abolition. Prisons tend to serve as a strategy for forgetting, for failing to address the real problems behind the reasons so many people are sent to prison, whether it's illiteracy or poverty or a whole range of other reasons, racism, or whether it is harm, horrendous violence inflicted by one individual on others. As long as the institutional context is left intact, the problem will continue, no matter how many men you get rid of. And I think this is the lesson we've learned from struggles against racism. That racism is not primarily a product of particular kinds of individualities. And it seems that, that we should draw from the lessons we have learned about this, the structural and institutional production and reproduction of racism in order to move forward in our effort to rid the world of gender violence.